Hello, and welcome back into another edition of The Works. I'm Jim.
I'm Diane.
Quick follow-up from yesterday's conversation, the game debate. I counted 2 in the previous episode. The whole goal here is I'm trying to improve myself and not use the crutch. So let's hope I get through today without messing that up. Or at least I'll keep count. So.
Well, 2 isn't bad.
No, 2 is fine. It's just the together part. And by itself, I'm trying to avoid at all costs. So, okay, that's it. Now I feel a little better. So, I guess we jump right back into our conversation. We were talking earlier. I thought it might be a good sharing conversation. Sleep, the sleep industry in particular.
Yeah.
And
we are notoriously not good sleepers.
No. And that reminded me, I did want to, the phone ring. I'd like to, maybe in our next edition or several editions of chatting about Central Ohio memories, anyone interested in coming on with us to help remind us some of the fun things, goofy things that we did, maybe that would be fun.
That we allegedly did.
Well, it'd be nice to have, Matt, Ken, anyone who would like to participate, and it'd be fun just to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Not necessarily recording, just nice to talk and catch up. But if anyone had some ideas and wanted to share, I know I heard a couple of ideas, but we'll save that for more of Central Ohio memories. Yeah, back to the. You can see how we're all over the place. When you don't have a good night's sleep, your brain isn't, running 100%.
Right.
Or you feel that way.
Well, sleep helps with your brain and cognitive things. It also helps reset cortisol and a myriad of other things. It's nature's reset. It's a reboot.
Well, it's also I think we've come to believe that because the industry itself, the sleep industry, is gigantic. There is everything, we all carry our phones, and we have devices now that we can wear that monitor things, innocently enough. In the beginning, it was more, being active, number of steps you got.
Right. How many stairs?
Yeah, stairs. And now, and rightfully so, we're all interested in other things, especially monitoring your heart.
Mm-hmm.
That
and oxygen levels, that's important too.
Certainly. Well, and I was joking the other day that, they have all this technology. What they need is the technology that while you're wearing the technology and your heart stops, wake up your partner.
Yeah.
Apparently they do have some of that out there. Maybe we could talk about that at some point in time. But, of course, my rub is both of us will stop. Or you'll finally be sleeping.
Yeah. Son of a bitch. Bastard stopped breathing.
Oh, but what a great night's sleep that would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole, sleep industry, and in particular, I think one of the big at-home remedies was this damn sleep apnea machine, c-pap, right?
Well, when you go to the doctor and you say, I haven't been sleeping well, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to do a study, right? To find out if you have the dreaded apnea.
Well, they check your insurance to make sure your insurance will cover for it.
A sleep study, yes.
Yeah, and then of course they conveniently remind you that if you don't have the FSA money, but I think our machine was subsidized to a certain degree. Yours was, I think. But we also had a weekly, monthly. They're not cheap.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, so yeah,
so
to your point,
you go to a place.
Well, you go to your GP to get a referral to somebody who's a sleep specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go to a sleep specialist, and what's the first thing they do is they prescribe a sleep study.
Mm-hmm. Where you're expected to sleep in a place that you don't know, in a bed that you're not comfortable with. And we all know how well we sleep on the first night of vacation. You don't sleep well. But
Well, then you have all this crap attached to you.
right.
Right? It's,
Cemented to your head.
evasive. And
And-
you're expected to, in a, like you said, brand new bed, on demand, go to sleep, regardless of your routine.
Right.
And that's my argument with you, is that going to bed to read, I think, is the worst thing you can do. I understand that it's nice to have the quiet time to slow down,
Mm-hmm.
but
It's-
unlike me, when I go to bed, when we're quote tired, who's asleep in,
Well,
in 90 seconds?
Well,
My head
that's
hits the
not
pillow.
That's not fair.
Well,
I
no,
have sleep latency.
Well,
I practice good sleep hygiene.
well, okay, again, another great term that
Mm-hmm.
I think the industry has invented. I mean, so one of the things that you pointed out is that in our nature, or at least I also agree with this, right? Hunter-gatherer type. But in our nature, before in the industrial age occurred,
Mm-hmm.
no one slept 8 hours straight.
No.
No one was expected to. It's the whole like the whole concept of 3 meals a day.
Right.
That was, brought over here, or someone brought it
Right.
and decided that, it was a good thing. It's an industry in itself. So long story short, we never slept 8 hours to begin with. What
Right.
makes,
You
what
went
makes
to-
us think that we're supposed to now, except for the sleep industry? Wants you
Well,
to believe that
and
you need
like
8
I
straight
said,
hours.
the industrial revolution, and that, so many hours off of not working. And so they came up with a construct that all you need is 8 hours, when in fact it used to be that you would go to bed when the sun went down. Well, because there wasn't electricity all the time.
Oh, true.
And you got up in the middle of the night for a couple hours. You tended to the fire because that was your heat source. You did some correspondence, and then you went back to bed. So it wasn't an 8-hour block. It was a larger block than that. But you would sleep 3 to 4 hours, be up for a couple, and then go back to bed. But now we think if we can't get a solid 8 hours, there's something wrong with us.
That was back in the AOL days, right?
Yeah.
Lecture correspondence. Well, it took so long, the modem,
Well,
the
yeah.
noise and
Mhm.
it went not as quick as that. But no, and I made this, connection, and maybe it's in my head. I think I'm brilliant, but the reality is that I think we all have. Can we not all tie ourselves to either hunter or gatherer, right? In personality, in how we kind of approach things. There was a shrink that once told me that, if there were assembly line jobs today, I wouldn't be able to do it. Not that I can't do the repetition, but that's just not, it doesn't involve the brain enough. Not that I'm not cerebral, but the reality is, you can't expect somebody who is more wired to be more anxious or to be, more alert to do something that's repetitious.
Right. Back in the caveman days, that profile is perfect for keeping your clan safe.
And those
You're
folks,
hunting.
I'm sure, never slept 8 straight hours.
Right.
Everybody have been eating.
Right. I know I would have been eaten, blind as a bat, allergies. Oh, yeah, I would have been.
Oh, well, that's a whole other.
That's a whole nother topic. but-
You probably would not have ever been picked by Maine caveman
right.
to procreate.
I'm busy snotting and sneezing. But
Yeah. And
anywho,
so it's this idea of
getting a good night's sleep.
getting a good night's sleep. So you do the sleep study.
Mm-hmm. And they come back and they tell you that these are the 4 levels of sleep, the 4 stages. The first one is, the non-REM. It's a very light stage. Stage 2, you're starting to relax. It's still a non-REM cycle, but your breathing slows, your heart rate slows. And then there's level 3, which is your deep sleep, where cortisol gets reset, your brain, the cognition, everything helps in the third level. And fourth is REM. So they bring out this little chart and said, well, to me, you had very little 3, and no 4. But you had all these hypopneas, so that the whole apnea part comes in. They kind of gloss over your sleep quality with the levels. They're like, okay, but let's.
Well, so that's a good point, and I guess what upsets me is the notion of it's not that I think the body tries to get to some sort of equilibrium, status quo. What I'm not sure what term to use, but wants to resolve itself. If you're so sleepy, you just go to sleep with all of the other distractions muted. Point being, things like what I notice, restless leg. It only bothers you when you're trying to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I early on, as a teen, I knew I had something like that. Didn't know what it was called, and until medical profession came up with a pill and some cutesy commercial. I wonder if there was a commercial for restless leg.
I don't recall.
But the issue, if you have or if you don't have, you'll appreciate the fact that in my case, it's the ankle, typically the right, and I get a sensation that I have to move it. And it's only as you're wanting to doze off is when it becomes the most aggravating, because it will, for me, it will keep me up. That will, and
you try to bargain with it, right?
Well, yeah, you play this game in your head like, I'm not going to move it. I'm not going to listen to you. If I can just get past the 90 seconds that it's yelling at me in my head to move it, and then I'll be fine. Because once you move it, you're good for like 3 minutes. It doesn't make sense. You just move it, and it's not just a little move. I mean, it's like choreographed dance.
Mm-hmm.
You move it. You finally get it out of your system after you move it, and then you go, I hope I fall asleep before this happens. But my point is that I'm a good going to sleeper, except when there's that distraction. In your point, that there are all these other things that, you have the restless body, you have latency, but again, they're giving these special terms to what I guess I attribute it to. When you're tired, your body will shut itself down, and you will get the sleep that you need. Now, is it refreshing? Probably not. Yes, there are things like, and the industry has decided that apnea, tie it to snoring.
I swear to God that's what they push, is that you do a sleep study, you're going to walk out with a c-pap, whether you snore or you don't snore. Right.
Well, and they approach, see, I think part of it is almost like that, snake oil salesman. If they find a candidate, unlike me, who would they ask me, well, would you be interested in a sleep study? And my first reaction, your reaction is, yes, I want to get to the root of the problem. That's great. My reaction is 10 steps ahead, and that is, I'm not putting shit on my face to go to bed. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not going to be able to sleep. You talk about the ultimate in restless leg. Now I got a restless face because I got crap on it.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to sleep. So no, I'm not going to even participate. Yes, do I snore? Absolutely. I also like to think that snoring helps the body with that issue as you're deep in sleep, that you're getting the breath that you need. Now, the snoring that blocks you, like in your case, you have no nose, right?
Hey now.
And you've got the palate issues, right? And what I mean by that, it's interesting. You were chasing a pain in your upper back, right?
Mm-hmm.
For years. And, willing to try everything, the chiropractic, the, holistic shit, all this.
Dry needling.
Whole bit. And you'd get relief for a while.
Mm-hmm. But it would start back up again.
Then somebody said, what was it that the dentist said?
The posterior tongue tie and the TMJ.
Which, at first my reaction was, well, typical, cynicism. How is that? But think about it. Part of snoring is the fact that your tongue
is not in a good position.
In the right position. And the tongue tied in your case is because you can't say R's early on in life.
The R's, the I still
I don't
trip
even know
up.
what is that letter? R?
Yeah. Instead of I said oh. And if I get excited and I'm talking too quickly, it'll still come out.
But so think about it. So out of all this, and I mean, you ended up, not that the labrum issue was.
that was something completely different.
I understand that, but
But the mouth guard for the TMJ did help with the upper back pain because it started up at the jawline. And speaking of jaw lines, it's interesting too that if you don't get diagnosed with the quote apnea, that there's another remedy that is this barbaric system of you have a thing on your upper teeth and your bottom teeth, and there's a hook in between, so it pulls your lower jaw forward, so you get a better passageway.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I do sleep, albeit on my stomach. I bring up my hand and I position it up under my jaw to kind of.
I bet that's what you're doing.
And I that's the thing, is that there's that conscious. The reason I don't want to sleep on my back or have decided that it's not as comfortable is that little hanging down thing. I can feel it when I'm getting relaxed, and I know, as a matter of fact, those nights that, either one of us have had a more aggressive snore or longer snore or deeper snore, we wake up and what's feeling swollen in the back of your mouth.
That dangly thing. I'll wake up and say, I must have been snoring a lot. Normally I catch myself. I wake myself up.
But yeah, so the reality is that they make you feel like you're so inefficient at doing the sleep thing. So then they send you home with this damn machine.
Right. And then they never test you again while you're wearing the damn thing to see if did you indeed help me get better quality sleep. To which they told me they're not concerned about the quality of my sleep. They're only concerned about my breathing.
Well, and so what does the machine do? The machine blows air. Mm-hmm. Now, the funny thing is, you, like me, wouldn't wear the mask. So you took the approach, which I thought was kind of cool, is that you wore the thing underneath, like you're getting oxygen in a hotel in a hospital.
Yeah, it was over the nose. It's less cumbersome than a whole face one.
But it's a machine breathing for you or forcing air in. In essence, it's making sure your passageways, which is what snoring does, stay as open as possible. But then again, back to the whole, hey, if your tongue didn't fall to the back of your mouth, right? Or again, like in my case, sleep position, I think, makes a big difference.
Right. Well, there are a couple things that could be done. When I was chasing the whole sleep thing and apnea, and maybe it's the jaw, maybe went to the ear, nose, and throat, and he's like, your allergies are out of control. I mean, every tree, every grass pollen, every dust mites, mold, you name it. Get those under control. You'll be breathing better. Maybe you won't have a problem with sleeping anymore. So when I finally went to get my colonoscopy, you have to disclose if you have apnea, because they want to, if they're putting you under, they want to make sure you don't stop breathing. But after my allergies were under control and I dropped a few pounds, they told me I did not have apnea. I never stopped breathing. So again, this sleep industry is pushing you towards one direction. I guess if you go to a hammer store, don't be upset when they sell you a hammer. Right?
Exactly. I guess the only, I wish I would, the one that they implant in you.
Oh, Inspire.
What does that do? Or what is that? Does that, again, help open or keep open a passage?
Yeah, an electronic pulse to shock that muscle to stay open. But
okay, so that's software.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is a new thing. It's funny. I don't think I've seen it as much recently as when it first came out. So I don't know if there's been any issues with it. Well, again, like any piece of hardware, the machine they sent you home with,
got a recall.
There's an but got a recall. And unlike poor people with the pacemakers, we've learned this through the Nancy Guthrie issue and disappearance, that pacemakers will willingly communicate via Bluetooth to your phone or anything you pair it with, right? A device. But your sleep machine.
Oh, it automatically. It had its own Wi-Fi or whatever.
No, cell. It had its own cell connection.
Mm-hmm.
And
communicated that way.
But my favorite part was that every other month or every third month, we'd get a call, automated AI. We'd get an AI call saying, you need to replace your filter or something to that effect, which of course it knew because it was keeping track of your sleep through this damn interface to cell towers.
But not really sleep, just the breathing.
Yeah, which then they attribute that to the bad night's sleep, notwithstanding all your other known issues going into it.
Right.
You don't have the ability to sleep. The brain goes, the racing
body.
thing. So now, don't get me wrong. There are other things that I think the sleep industry has talked about that we have selfishly, we picked up on one of the, I think we did it early on too. I was a big fan of sleep machines, sound machines.
Sound machines, yes.
And even like with our daughter who wasn't a good sleeper then, well, she's not a good sleeper now. Going to Niagara Falls, keeping the window open.
That was
so you
the
heard
first time she ever slept through the night
and
at
why?
age 2.
Because
the
that
sound.
noise of the falls is, and we have, there's a company, it's actually here in North Carolina. They have a device that specifically, that creates, it's a whirling, it's not electronic, it's not digitized, there's no
it's
loop,
air.
there's no loop in it. So, unfortunately, if we don't have it, we've gone on vacation or we've loaned the device somebody. I cannot turn it off unless I have that thing on. That machine, the sound.
But I can detect the loop when it's software.
Oh,
when
sure,
it's digital.
And likewise,
But yeah, we'll wake up if the power turns off.
So
the quiet wakes me up.
So my point that's a crutch to deal with the racing mind.
Brain, yeah.
So the racing mind, and if I didn't have the sound machine, I turn it on, I'm off, and I'm out in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, I can't. It takes me a while, but I'll get there. But I like that to distract me. The restless foot thing, that's still a big thing. You've got the body, but the industry has now,
there are certain pillows. There are different beds.
Oh, the sleep number. We tried that. I think we had the record for how long we had it in our house before we asked to return it. Was it 8 hours?
Yeah.
I couldn't even get through the night, and it took us like 8 hours to put the damn thing together. Took the old mattress, stuck it in the garage, and I think within 4 hours of laying on the damn thing, I had that disassembled and the old one back in our room so we could sleep. Just horrible.
It was awful.
Horrible. I don't understand how anybody can sleep on
Everybody
this
has a different setting. Your side, my side. So you can't cross over. You can't sleep in the middle.
It's an air mattress that, and maybe they've changed, and forgive me if, not offending anyone, but it was just not our thing. One of the best mattresses we ever had, and it's going to sound cliche, but it was the Sleeping Beauty. Mm-hmm. And the only company that's allowed by Kingsdown here in North Carolina, and they're the only ones that have that trademark.
Or was it Black Beauty?
No, they have the Black Beauty was the top of the line.
Okay.
Sleeping was
but it was Kingsdown, yes.
But those Disney terms, the Kingsdown company has that trademarked.
Yeah, that was a
and
good
that was
mattress.
By far one of the best.
Right, but we still ended up with the swim lanes. Your sleep channel.
Those beds, and they tell you, you're supposed to replace them every 7 years anyway, and that's the reality. And now we went with we went 12 years probably with that one, and yes, it was not as fun as it was when you first get it, and the one we've got now is more of this hybrid thing where they've got gel. And the
memory
foam, but springs are important. That's to me that's the important thing. But part of the industry that upsets me too is the idea of the innocent trackers that we wore just to count our steps have turned into analyzing your sleep. Here's a term that we should have thought of for our corp speak, but they use data-driven insights. Now, they don't tell you what to do other than, in my mind, because I think you fall victim to this, they give you data and they don't tell you what to do with the data, or that, like in your case, you would have a successful nights of sleep according to the data-driven results.
Right.
However,
it had me, I was sitting on the couch reading, for an hour and a half because I couldn't sleep, and it had noted it as REM sleep.
Well,
Yeah.
my point is that
Yeah.
what's bullshit is that it would, it's analyzing your breathing, well, your pulse ox,
Mhm.
which again, that's a legitimate number.
Right.
But how do you correlate that with a good or bad night's sleep? Seriously.
Right. And the heart rate. Well, my resting heart rate, if I'm not doing anything, it'll be in the 50s.
And then they also use motion to a certain degree.
Right.
But again, so you're trying to put a number on, now again, numbers for pulse ox and heart rate, absolutely. Movement, how do you rate that? And then
Right.
what does that necessarily mean? Is a lot of movement bad?
Right.
Not movement good? But yeah, so, this idea of, a grade after you had a night's sleep. The worst
Thumbs
part,
up, winky.
well, that what frustrated me is she'd constantly come down and, then became a game. I said, well, you got a good score last night, so you must feel rested.
No.
Yeah.
No.
One of the things that are, I think, maybe helping buck the trend is the idea of sleeping separate.
Yeah.
The
Doug
bed,
and Carrie on King of Queens. You just.
well, the beds, the whole motion thing. When someone would move, it would stir the other person up. And if certainly they were a light sleeper,
Right.
Being in a separate bed 20 years ago made sense. They make beds now that I could be jackhammering on my side of the bed, and literally you have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
That's not a euphemism for anything.
Yeah,
no,
winky,
no.
wink.
No, I mean, my point is that, but what I think the sleeping separate thing is starting to gain traction is
Isn't there a trendy term for that?
Sleep divorce.
Oh, okay.
But I think and for you being a light sleeper, when I get up to go to the bathroom, that's when the knees pop, and that wakes her up. There might
Everything
be
wakes me,
everything
yeah.
wakes you up. So, the whole separate thing is a thought, I guess.
Yeah.
But part of that, well, selfishly, it's a cold. The only person I've ever, you go to bed and you'd rather it be 85 degrees than me 5 degrees. I love it cold. I think cold provides a better environment for sleep. You, on the other hand, because again, your makeup,
Well, my core temperature drops. If I can get it back up to normal, then I can sleep in the cold. But if I'm cold and I have to try and go to sleep in a cold room, it just doesn't work. Does not work.
And again, I think it's our definition of my feet are cold, my fingers are cold. You try to get warm by me sometimes, and I'm even colder than you. But I still, again, it's a preference, and I get it. It's, but, and it's funny. One of the things that made me reminisce that, early on back in the days of when they first invented Ambien.
Oh my God, that was
the greatest night's sleep. I'll never forget that first couple of nights.
Yeah,
were fantastic.
they don't let you do it more than 7 days now.
Which is, it doesn't matter because the concern was if
you didn't go back to sleep, if you didn't go to sleep immediately, you might get into.
Well, there were a couple of times I woke up with M&Ms in bed. I had no idea where they came from.
Play the game. Did I eat or did I not eat?
And why is my car in the middle of the street and I've got Wendy's leftovers in my foot of the bed? But and things like, and I'm, there was, of course, socially the whole with Roseanne Barr. There were several people that would blame Ambien
for inappropriate
things.
things.
It was a fantastic drug. I mean, it was outstanding. Yeah.
All I can tell you is the new one that I tried last night was not it. It did not work at all.
Is it really
it was
new?
the full.
I thought it was the same
body.
foot thing I get.
Well, it undid whatever gabapentin that helps with my restless body. Yeah. Whatever I took last night to help with the sleep latency, it had me doing the kickin' chicken all night. I was Tina Belcher. Just it was awful. Yeah, absolutely awful.
But yeah, again, why not the simplest of solutions? A
lobotomy?
No, the old fashioned. Give me a sedative.
Old fashioned.
Or a couple old fashions. That would work.
That would work. Yeah. I don't know. Something's gotta change. Yeah.
So I would love your
What do you guys use?
And as you get older, I think it becomes either less or you get that one really great night's sleep, and that's the one where you pass in your sleep. I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
Let me think about
Now
it.
I'm really not going to sleep tonight. I'll be obsessing about that.
Well, I already obsess about that. It's
Okay.
part of getting old. So, yeah. Any thoughts or input to our struggle? Anybody else experience the same thing? Anyone have luck with the c-pap? I know your father swears by it.
Well, that was because he could smuggle some vodka in on his cruise that he took, but that's a whole nother fun fact.
Well, what it was there's special. It's just distilled water, right?
Right.
And you needed it with yours, even though you didn't have the
Mhm.
mask. And her parents were so cheap that instead, as they were coming on board, they had in bottles. Maybe there were vodka bottles, but they convinced the folks that it was water for their c-pap.
Yeah.
But it was vodka. So, and
Fun
my
fact.
joke was always that, during the hurricanes or even recently when we, had some bad snow weather and the ice and everything a couple weeks ago, filling up your tub. And we
Mhm.
fill it up because, again, with we're on septic, we're on a well. So if the power goes out, can't flush. So I put water in the bathtub. But my joke always used to be that they'd fill up their bathtubs with vodka, not water, in the event of an emergency.
Well, you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Aunt Betty's cottage might be closed.
Aunt Betty's cottage. God bless her.
There you go. Well, yeah, let us know. And then, same invite. But love to have some folks come on and share their thoughts, memories, fun stuff that we talked about before with Central Ohio. Yeah, and maybe they could shed light on the whole curling iron up the rear end situation.
Yeah.
It wasn't wives' tale. What was it? Folklore? Was that the term? I can't remember. Anyway, so until next time, this is Jim.
I'm Diane.
You're listening to The Works.